right, it's time to get started. All right, I am Karen, and I'm going to be talking to you about go-to scripts and techniques. When I was thinking about what to present, I'm always thinking about what is it that will be the most helpful for the most amount of people. And I thought about it, and I thought, I've been practicing for 17 years, and I find that when I work with a client, whether it's an athlete, which is my niche, or any other client, I have a toolbox. And in my toolbox, I tend to use certain techniques or scripts more often, just because they're familiar to me and they work. And I was just talking to, I don't remember, it was Ken, and we were talking about how there are so many tools and techniques and scripts that we could and should use. It's really about what is your go-to and what is most comfortable for you. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk to all of you about, what is it that you use that works the best, and what is it that I use that works the best, and how can we share with each other the techniques and tools that win for all of us. And again, I'm Karen. My business is Win with Hypnosis in Wisconsin. See? I love the California accent because they're a little gentler. And I've been seeing clients for about 17 years. I also have a program called Attitude of a Champion, and it's an online mentoring and coaching program to teach others how to work with athletes. When I work with athletes, I use a scripted, structured 4-session process that I use, and then we do additional after that. But I wanted to start out first by telling you a little bit about our go-tos. And I wanted to just start by describing a situation back in February, probably about 6 years ago in Wisconsin. It was a cold winter day. And if any of you know about Wisconsin, it's like, I live on a lake and the ice is about 10 feet thick and we can drive cars on it and it's freezing cold. And every year in February is the state wrestling tournament. I have 3 sons and they were all elite wrestlers, which is part of the reason I got into seeing athletes. And it was the state tournament. My son was a freshman that year. And as we approached that tournament, I remember going into the turnstiles. And do any of you have athletes that are children that are athletes? Okay. I remember saying to him, every time he had a big competition coming up, whether it's nationals or state, I would get the sickest stomach. And I knew as a hypnotist and a hypnotherapist, what we all know is our mind creates our physical realities in our body, right? That's what we teach our clients is when we think something, it creates a physical sensation in our bodies. It's one of those universal laws. And when I would think about his big competition coming up, I would just get the worst stomach ache. And so I remember moving through the turnstiles, and it was a big stadium at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is a Big Ten school. And it was a huge deal that he was a freshman and he was actually going to state. So we walked up and we had a box, one of those luxury boxes that you watch from my husband at the time was involved with an insurance company that gave us a box. So walked into the box and there's the red stadium seats, cold, hard, and I sat down in the seats and was very nervous, not realizing as a freshman where he would really go. And he was undefeated that year. He was a great wrestler as a child, yet I didn't realize what he would become. He was on the future Olympian list and multi-time national champs, multi-time state champs. He had gone to Ukraine to wrestle, and he was even at the Olympic Training Center for a while. But before that, he wrestled, and it was a weekend-long tournament. He did really well, and he would wrestle and win and wrestle and win. He was at that space where we weren't even worried about him losing. He was really that good. But he got to his semifinal match, which is the match before finals, and he was wrestling, and he injured himself by tearing the ligament off of his thumb. And he wanted to wrestle in the finals match. Well, me as the mom is like, you can't wrestle, because when you wrestle, I don't know if any of you guys know, but it's major grip strength. So if you can't grab your opponent's legs or hang on to their hands, you're really at a disadvantage without one of your hands. So I was saying, it might just be a good thing to forfeit and you get to be second, and that's okay. Well, he was so determined. that he was like, no, I'm wrestling. And he was wrestling the state champion, that was the state champion 2 years prior to that. And he was a senior, which means he had that many more years under his belt. And I was thinking, I don't know how you're going to do this. So he actually went in and I'll show you his. So that's his picture. He won that finals match, and he won it with, you can see on his wrist is all taped up, or his hand. And after that, he had surgery on his thumb from the surgeon that does the Milwaukee Brewers surgeries. So he went in and he did win that match as the underdog in the final seconds. It was actually in overtime. And how he won it was that he won it using what we call the fireman's carry. It's an unusual wrestling technique that some use. And he didn't like people to know that was his go-to, because then they would try to prevent it, right? And the reason I tell you this story is that we all have go-tos. We all have what makes us special in what we do, special in our field. And so that's what I wanted to share is, like, what is your go-to? It might not be the fireman's, but there's got to be some go-to there. So what I'm going to do is, as we move through this, we're going to talk about what are your favorite go-to scripts and techniques that you use. And I'm going to share some of my favorite go-to scripts and techniques. Now, I see a lot of athletes, yet I see clients for everything else, because when an athlete comes in your door, they see the results, and then their parent wants to know if you can see their sister for weight loss, or I know someone that could use you for smoking, or whatever else that is. So we're going to talk about the different, like, what's the inductions that we use as our go-to, what's our deepeners, what's some techniques that we use that, like, I know Joni has a bunch for athletes that that I use also, and what are some of the scripts that you go to, and not necessarily scripts that we read, which I'm one of those that says if you have a script that works for you, of course you can read it, because it gives you great ideas, but you're not going to sit there and read it. You're going to kind of improvise as you go. So those are the things that we're going to talk about. And I want to just keep this like totally open. You guys tell me, I'll tell you, we'll be kind of back and forth. But 3 rules that I use for every session, and this is whether it's an athlete or not. And I thought this was important to share, because about 2 years ago, that son that I was talking about died in a motorcycle accident. And I realized that after that happened, I saw clients in a different way. I saw clients because it was important to me that I could use every second that I was working with them for them to see who they can become no matter what's happened in their life. Because my phrase, and I want everybody to know this, is steps in my office, is everybody's hard is hard. So they come in and they'll say, you know, I have this and this going on, and I know it doesn't seem like a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. Everybody's hard is hard. And so there's 4 rules there, you guys. 4 rules, but let's say 3 rules that I use in every session is, when they step in, I want to hold them high. And when I talk about holding them high, to me, that means what is the best version of themselves? They might come in and they're anxious or they're crying. Maybe it's an athlete that isn't enjoying their sport anymore, or they don't believe in themselves. But what is that? I see them as who they get to be, right? Who they came in to be. And so I want to hold them high from the moment they step in. The second thing that I found is very, very valuable is to give them hope. Because I want them to, most of them that walk in, they walk in to see us, and we know this because we've heard this many times, is hypnosis and hypnotherapy in many instances is a last resort, right? And so they could go to a psychologist and it's, you know, they have insurance, or they could try this or they could try that, but they're willing to pay us thousands of dollars because at that point they are ready to try anything. I just got a phone call, I think it was yesterday, and she left a message and she said, I have been referred to you and I have so much anxiety, and my dad and my brother passed away in the same year, and she had heard that my son had passed away a few years prior, and she said, I am so stuck in anxiety, like I will pay anything, I need your help. And she expressed it that way, but most people think that. So it's giving them hope. What I like to say is I want to move them from hopeless to hopeful, whether it is an athlete or any other client that is stuck in, I'm smoking and I can't stand myself anymore, to hopeful about, yes, what does it look like when you are free of smoking and smoke-free and clear. And then I also like them to know that in that first session, what does the new version of you look like? So I want to help you see the new version of you. And I hear many times over is, wow, I never thought about that. What does it look like when I am playing my best game? What does it look like when I don't have anxiety anymore? And so I use that word with them. What does the new version of you look like? When we're finished working together, what does the new version of you look like as we're done with our programs? And it gives them that hope, and they get to start thinking about, what does it look like when I'm confident and happy and can sleep again, or whatever it is that they're struggling with. And then lastly, something that I learned in a transformational leadership program that I went to is create a contract with them. And when I say a contract, it's you and who you get to be when we're finished working together in a very solid, powerful way. So when I create a contract with them, we'll talk about, we'll do the intake, and we'll talk about, what is it that you're here for, and how can I help you, and what if I could snap my fingers and you could feel, be, or have 3 things when we're finished working together, what would that be? And then we go through those and write affirmations or statements, and then we create their contract. And I tell them to write down on a piece of paper, I am a, and then blank, 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 and then a noun. So you could say entrepreneur, leader, man, woman, child, boy, girl, whatever it is that you describe yourself as, right? I am a blank, blank, blank. And then so mine is leader. My contract statement is I am a powerful, loving, giving leader. I live by that all the time. And so I have every client create their contract and tell them that every time you look in the mirror, say your contract to yourself. And every time you step into my office, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what is your contract? It should be that simple, that easy. I'm a powerful, loving, giving leader. And your contract is then the blank, blank, blank are 3 adjectives that describe you in your best state. It can be, some women say beautiful, some men say handsome. Some people say powerful, loving, giving, authentic, connected, awesome, fierce, driven, determined. So 3 adjectives that describe the version of you that you want to be. So I am a blank, 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 leader, woman, hypnotist, hypnotherapist. I mean, write that, right? Put it on your desk. I am a powerful, successful, abundant hypnotist, right? So whatever that is, create the contract, and I have every client create their contract. So these are just a few of the techniques that I use for that first session when I see athletes. Or clients. Is there anything that any of you think about in that first session that maybe is a go-to that you do in that first session that you want to share with us? Nah, not that you can think of? Okay. Oh, sure. Go ahead, Joni. I'd love to hear it. Oh, Joni's going to share that at 4:30. You did say that. The first thing you do, and that is you're sharing like what questions you ask and how you create, right?
Yeah,
Your kind of your
questions before you ever meet them.
Yes.
This questions become your session.
Yes, yes, I love it. I do that for you that too. One of them is what makes your heart sing. And I always want to know for my clients what makes your heart sing, and then we can work on that in our sessions because I want to know what it is that motivates them, right?
Excuse me.
Yes.
In the second session, do you ask that question again? Is it something new each time?
The contract?
Or are you still working on, what makes your heart sing?
Oh.
Do you ask that each time, or is that something, you remember when we first started and you said, blah, blah makes your heart sing. Is that still true? I mean, do you follow it that way?
No, I just ask it in the intake just because I want to know a little bit more about them. I also ask what their 3 favorite colors are because if I'm doing something like a technique to calm them, I will have that color wash down over and through them I know it's their favorite color. It's one of the colors that I use. If for some reason I forget it, I can always ask, but that's just it. What makes your heart sing is just one of the questions that I ask. I know that then maybe their children are really important to them, or they love to travel, and I can use that then when I'm working with them on visualizations. And so before we talk about what are your favorite inductions and scripts and techniques, I just wanted to bring up, think about as we go through this, like what is your zone of genius? What is it that you really have mastered? What is it that makes you unique? What is it that makes you the successful, powerful business person or person that you either want to be or you feel like you are? So what are you great at? What are you really good at? For me, I'm good at listening and asking questions to get the aha moments. And that's really important for me because I find that when a client or an athlete steps out of my office and they have those aha moments, which is my goal for every first session, I want them to stand up and say, I needed this, or I'm so excited to work with you, or this is exactly what I was looking for. That's my goal. And so my zone of genius is to get that space for them. And what is your flow state? Now, when we talk about go-tos, we're going to talk about go-to inductions and go-to scripts and techniques. I would say my flow state is what I've learned as I've practiced all these years is letting them know that hypnosis is nothing magical and getting them to a state of relaxation without them even knowing it. So I start with things like, if they feel like if they're nervous or they're not sure what I'm going to do or they don't want to allow themselves to relax, it's simply when you sit down in the chair and you close your eyes, it's just like me talking to you, but I'm going to talk to you with your eyes closed. So it's making them comfortable and feeling safe in their environment. The more comfortable and safe they feel, we all know the quicker they'll go into a hypnotic state. And then how do you show up for your clients? When I really recognized this, it was after my son had died and I still had clients, and I think I took a couple weeks off, but before I would see clients, I would say to myself, how am I showing up? Am I showing up for me or am I showing up for them? And then for me, it was about how do I focus out? How do I give to them? And it started to be a gift to me because I could actually have a day or an hour or a couple hours of my world did not matter. So how was I showing up for them? It was literally like when I stepped through that office door, I was showing up 100% for them, and it actually felt good for me. I enjoyed doing it. So what is how do you show up for your clients? And one of the ways I do that is every morning I have a routine I go through. And one of the questions I ask for myself is I'll run through in my head which clients I have that day. And if they're a new client, it's, what are they coming to me for? And then the question I have, and I ask my subconscious this, is how can I win today? Or how can I help them win today? Or what are their wins today? And I miraculously come up with these amazing techniques that I don't think my conscious mind would ever come up with, but my subconscious comes up with these things that like, oh yeah, that's what I'll be working with them on. And then lo and behold, it comes up in our session and I end up using it. So that's the question that I ask every morning is how can I help them win today? Or what can I do so they win today? And what would it look like if you showed up as a CEO of your business? And lastly, what do you do in your sessions? What do they look like when you're in your greatness? So that's part of being in that zone, right? That's what we work with athletes. What does it look like when you're in your zone, when you're in that emotional state of that peak performance state, when you're not thinking about anything, there's no distractions, you're just in your zone, okay? I'd love to know, as we move on, I'll go back to that later. Okay. What's your, I'd love to hear from all of you what your favorite induction is. Go ahead. Dave Elman induction. Okay. Who else?
Progressive relaxation.
Progressive relaxation. Progressive relaxation. Progressive relaxation.
I tend to do sort of a overload or confusion induction, but also with a lot of kind of elements of colors and sounds of nature.
I love it. And so do you do that very quickly? Do you speak quickly when you do that, or is it?
It's a pace of lead thing, so I kind of start quick and then over time I get slower and my voice gets a little
I love it. What a unique way to go. I know you're a stage hypnotist. What do you do?
Kind of a progressive thing with comedy involved in it, trying to entertain the audience while I'm doing the induction.
Sure. Okay.
I'm brand new to hypnosis.
Okay. So you're learning them all. Great.
I like progressive relaxation, and I also do something with colors.
Okay.
I change.
Sure.
They pick the color,
Uh-huh.
and then they fill their body with it.
Okay. Awesome.
Stairs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The stairs is a deepener or a progressive relaxation. Sure. Or a relaxation induction. How about you? Stairs? Yeah, Joni, what about you?
So I use a modified Dr. Flowers induction.
Oh, yeah?
I combine Dr. Flowers with progressive muscle relaxation.
Okay.
Athletes need to relax. But it also combines vocal technique and
Vocal technique.
progressive.
Yeah. Does anyone not know the flowers induction, or would you like Joni? Joni, can you just give us a little quick
Yeah, so
what that is?
basically, and it's fun because depending on the age of the athlete, it doesn't really matter. They still have fun, but you can state it differently. But you have them count backwards, and I have them. I have some interesting things in my office, but you can use even their imagination, or you can use a real object on your wall. Have them focus on that, and what I say to them is, whenever I say the number 5, you're just going to laser focus, because you're going to create some eye fatigue, laser focus on that object.
Okay, so real quick, count backwards,
Yeah.
look at an object, laser focus on the object at the number 5.
So you'll 5, and then they'll have them close. As they close their eyes, I'm starting the progressive relaxation. So
Okay.
you start relaxing the top of their head. And then
Yes.
they're enjoying that, but then I interrupt that. I'm also fractionating a little bit. So when they open their eyes on 4, I have them hold it, and I kind of vary the speed at which
Mm-hmm.
I go back and forth with the numbers, but so they don't know what to expect as well. When they close their eyes, you go to the next part, zone of the body, or the part of the body.
Okay.
And you work your way down there. It works really well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Anything?
I like doing, I'm new, I'm very new, but
Okay.
the look up and look down
Yep.
and a quick induction.
The eye closed, sure. Okay. Anything?
In
Review,
the
yeah.
first session, I generally start with confusional methods.
A confusion. Okay, interesting. So we all have different ones. There's no right, there's no wrong. I've learned that. What I've started to do is similar to Joni is, I'll explain to them as they close their eyes that mindfulness or being mindful or in the moment is a buzzword these days. We talk about it all the time. And I want to teach you how to be in the moment and how to be mindful, because you can use that at any time. We find that when we're right here in the moment, just like when I'm with a client or you guys are here listening to me, we're not typically, if we're focused on what's going on this moment and what I'm teaching, we're not worried about what's going to happen next hour, and we're not concerned about that flight that we had that got canceled yesterday. We're right here in the moment. And when we're here in the moment, we are not feeling stressed. It's something that I use with my clients when you can bring yourself back. And so what I'm going to do as we start to get relaxed is I'm going to bring you to the moment. And so I'll have them do things like close your eyes, drop into your body, and then feel the weight of your body. So I want them to feel how they're feeling. Notice the temperature of the room, the sounds around you. Obviously, I'm slower. And then to drop into their breathing and feel their breath, the cool air intake into their nostrils, filling their lungs, and as they exhale, the warmth of their breath. And so that is one of the techniques I use, and then a progressive relaxation. Deepeners. Anyone have a favorite deepener they like to share? Stairs? Yeah, that's a good one. Yes?
Doing kind of a version of stairs, but with a waterfall or with a fountain where you're going from bowl to bowl, or a waterfall where you're going from step to steps, you're stepping.
Steps to steps on a waterfall. Okay.
Like, put in a word, early on, like every time you hear me say relax.
Yes.
Relaxation, and then just spring.
Double your relaxation.
Yeah.
Okay, every time you hear me say the word relax. Okay, I like that one. Good. Can you let me know when I get close to time? I don't have a clock on me here. Okay. All right. Any others? Favorite deepeners?
No, but to just count backwards and tell them they're going deeper.
Mm-hmm. Okay, count backwards, yep. Yep, I find that the word let go is very effective as a deepener, and then double your relaxation.
Sunset is a great one.
The sunset, yep. Yep. Clearing their mind. Here's one that I love to use is I have a lot of people that will say to me, I've been practicing meditation or trying to do self-hypnosis for years, but I can't seem to calm my mind. And so I have 2 techniques that I like to teach in how to do that. And that's a simple one is to imagine themselves out in nature, the warm sun on their face as it moves down their body, relaxing every muscle all the way down to their toes. Imagine up in the beautiful blue sky on a gorgeous summer day, there's some big white fluffy clouds passing by. And as those clouds pass by, they clear your mind of all outside thoughts. And it literally just washes away what's going on here in that conscious mind. So that one's really great with clearing the mind. The other one I like to use with them is to notice their thoughts, see them swirling in their mind, anything that they're holding on to from earlier today, anything they may be holding on to from that may happen later today. Slow the thoughts and let them dissolve down into your body like the soft spring rain. So that's one of my favorite ones to help them learn how to. And when I teach self-hypnosis, I say, go ahead and use this before you start your stair induction or your getting into self-hypnosis. Another deepener that I teach along with self-hypnosis, this is how I teach athletes how to do self-hypnosis, because athletes they're a unique client. They really are. So we have people coming into us for everything, but we talked about this on our sports panel this morning, is the reason they're unique clients is because they know how to listen, they know how to be coached, they want to be there and they want to be better. They know what it's like to be trained. They know how to get into the zone. And it's not a lot of, it's techniques, yet it's not a lot of the heavy emotional work, right? And so when I teach them self-hypnosis, because I teach self-hypnosis to every client I see, I teach them the zone method. And I learned this zone method because I used hypnobirthing, which is how I got into hypnosis 19 years ago. And with hypnobirthing, it's teaching you how to get yourself into a hypnotic state between every contraction. We call them surges. And they teach us this simple way. And the more we practice it, like I tell my clients, the easier it becomes. And so in between each contraction, we would get ourselves into a hypnotic state so that when the contraction came, we could lay and not move our bodies. And it's literally just using your body as zones. Your head is zone 5, shoulders 4, midsection 3, legs zone 2, feet zone 1. Take a deep breath. In fact, you guys want to practice this? Okay, so I'm going to tell you about it and then you can practice it. So you take a deep breath and close your eyes and you just imagine zone 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as that wave moves down your body, it relaxes your mind and your body. Okay, so go ahead and take a deep breath as you close your eyes and exhale. And just let go of anything from earlier today and release anything that may happen later today. And take another deep breath. And just exhale, letting go. Feeling a heaviness in your body. Just imagine with your eyes closed now that your body is sectioned in zones. Your head is zone 5, shoulders 4, midsection 3, your legs are zone 2, and then your feet are 1. I'm going to count slowly down from 5 to 1. And with each number, just slowly and easily relax every muscle, every cell, and every fiber in that zone. So again, take one more deep breath. And as you relax, relax zone 5, your face, your cheeks, your jaws. Feel that space between your teeth with 5. Down your neck 4, let your shoulders sink into your body, just letting go. Releasing any tension there down through your arms. And 3, relax your chest. All your chest muscles with 3. And when you relax your chest, relax your heart center. In fact, open your heart center, not to me or anyone else, but to yourself, to the changes you're here to make. And now zone 3, relax your stomach, your hips. And 2, relaxing deeper, relax your legs all the way down through your thighs, your knees and your calves. Relaxing deeper, just letting go. And now zone 1. Relax your feet, your ankles, the tops of your feet, the soles of your feet, and even your toes. And just for a moment now, imagine as if there's roots growing from the bottom of your feet deep down into the core of the earth. They're strong, down through the dirt layer, the rock layer, the water layer, the crystalline layer, all the way down to the core. And these roots center you. They balance you. And now down from that core of the earth, bring in an energy of confidence, self-love, empowerment, all the way up through those roots, up into your body. And slowly and easily, as that confidence and self-love, authenticity rises back into your body, slowly and easily bring yourself back to the room, opening your eyes, feeling wonderful in every way. All right, so I teach that to my athletes. It's that simple. I teach them how to do it. And then I say, I'm going to bring you into hypnosis when we practice it today using that same exact technique so that they can feel it. And then once a day, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, practice your self-hypnosis and visualize your perfect game. Visualize yourself making the basket, pinning, whatever that is after we talked about it. Okay, so that's one of my favorite techniques that I use for athletes. They tend to like it because they're so busy. And if you give them too many tasks and homework, they're like, no, because they're already in your office because they're stressed out about everything that they're trying to do in their homework. And so I tell them it's really quick and easy. Like, it's close your eyes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So that's one of my favorite inductions that I use with athletes and many other people also. Deepeners. Okay, this is a fun one, is techniques. All kinds of techniques. Let's see. Anyone have a certain technique that, just think about for a moment, when you have a client or when you're seeing clients, if you've seen clients for a while, and if not, you get to learn from us, what's a technique that you tend to use more often than not, and it feels like something that when you really don't know what to do, or it's just something, it's like your go-to. Does anyone have any go-to techniques that they want to share with us? Breathing. So you teach them breathing, yes. And is that for stress, or what do you use that technique for? Okay, so a go-to technique is breathing. Awesome. Is there a certain one that you use?
6-6 belly breathing, in and out through the nose.
In and out, okay. 6 in, belly breath. Okay, awesome. All right. Anyone use finger to thumb as an anchor? I use that often. Like, that's what I would say one of my big go-tos are, whether it's an athlete or any other client for any other, that finger to thumb is a huge anchor because it's always with them. It's that deep breath. I use it for smoking clients and any others. So yes, the finger to thumb is a big one. Similar to the finger to thumb, sometimes I'll do the squeeze wrist. And sometimes I'll give them an option if they want the finger to thumb or the squeeze wrist, whichever one they feel works better for them. And that's their anchor for relaxation and calm. And then I explain to them that in hypnosis, we'll be doing this when you're in the calm state. So when you're awake, you can do that, and it brings back that same anchor of a state. All right, this might trigger something for some of you guys, not trigger in a bad way, but remind you of something that you use. One of my go-tos that I tend to use with a lot of clients is the control room. And the control room is where your consciousness shrinks small enough to travel through the corridors of your body to the control room in your mind. And then in your mind, you see controls, levers, switches, and dials. I'll do some visualizations like they see what the door looks like. It's a big wooden door, and they open the door, more kind of visualization type thing. And once they step into their control room, they see that there's some knobs or levers or dials that are attracting their attention. I like to use this one with athletes for sure. Sometimes it's a dial that represents, confidence. It depends what we spoke about earlier. Sometimes it's a dial that represents performance anxiety, or maybe it's a healing gauge, and it's something that some injury they're struggling with, or they're a swimmer and their shoulder's bothering them, and we can help them to move that dial of pain control. What I like to use, one of my favorite ones, and I learned it from my son, because he was, like I said, he was an amazing wrestler, and he never lost, which was so crazy. And I didn't realize this till a little bit later, but I would go to wrestling meets and tournaments, thank you. And I would be like, what the heck is it? Like, kids would forfeit all the time because they didn't want to wrestle him. I was never worried about him winning. Like, he was that crazy good. And so I said to him one day, what is it that you have that you are so, I mean, he was so confident that he never, ever thought he would lose. And it was so beautiful to see, because then I had 2 other wrestlers after that, and I didn't realize what a gift that was and how amazing that was until I saw the other 2 that weren't quite in that state, which I tried to teach them many times. And he would say to me, I have a switch in my mind, and when I'm stepping on the mat, I literally switch the switch and I turn into an apex. And I would say, what is an apex? And he said, I don't really know. I mean, I could probably draw it for you, but it's some creature that I turn into. And he literally had that. He was so mentally tough that he would step on the mat and switch on his switch and turn into an apex. He was no longer Josh Bird, which served him many times, but he also was a very aggressive wrestler. So there was many times when he was wrestling and I'd be like, don't hurt them, you know, as the mom, like, don't hurt them. But he just was that good, and that, like, he would turn on his apex and not even feel him as Josh Bird. And so I use that with my athletes, is get into the control room of your mind. Notice there's a switch, it's blinking red, it's large, it's life size, and it's off. And anytime you need to turn on that strength and that power and that confidence, your mental toughness, or turn into, you know, I'll ask them what kind of animal. Sometimes swimmers like to imagine themselves as dolphins. And when they jump into the water, they turn into a dolphin and their lane illuminates, and it pushes them further and faster. And he would turn into the apex, so it's his switch. And I do that with athletes. Get into your mind when you need to reset, and switch your switch on and turn into the leopard or the lion or the cheetah. And then I use it for other clients too. So that's one of my favorites. Any questions about, no, some of the techniques? Does anyone have any technique that you'd like to share that you use? That's kind of like your go-tos when you really think about it?
I do a lot of future pacing.
Future pacing, for sure.
Anchoring colors, sound.
Yes, yes.
And also kind of embedded stories, you know, where you start a story and then you start a second story, you start a third story, and you finish it and bracket it out on the other side.
Embedded stories. Okay, that's good. I don't think about that one. I like that. And future pacing, like, I don't think there's ever a client we work with that we don't future pace with, right? Because that's the blueprint that we want them to become, the version of them, the athlete that they want them to become. And it seems simple to us, yet believe it or not, a lot of athletes and clients don't think about, what does it look like when I do reach that goal? What does it look like when I do play my perfect game or swim my perfect meet? Or, like, I never even thought. They'll say, I never even thought about it. What does it look like when I reach that? So that future pacing, yes, definitely a good one. The other thing that I use with athletes, and I wanted to share with you guys real quick, if you can get that QR code, that will send you to a document that I use. It's kind of a script. It's a circle of excellence, which a lot of us know about, right? It's a NLP, but I've changed it up a little bit for athletes, and it's the script that I use when I teach self-hypnosis to them. So go ahead and get that QR code. It'll send you, that'll send you to a link that'll send you that PDF then, okay? Yeah, it's working, good. And what it is I'll teach them self-hypnosis, and then I will talk them through what is the circle of excellence. This is what they imagine. And then I will have them practice it on their own. When they get into self-hypnosis, they use this technique. And so you guys will get a copy of that. And I have them practice that every single day. It's one of their tasks that they do. And I tell them, use it for the rest of your life. If you're not seeing yourself stepping into your circle and winning your match or getting the goal, see yourself stepping into your circle. I do this with my mentees that I train. See yourself stepping into your circle, and what does it look like when you're rocking your business? What does it look like when you're the CEO of your business and you've got like more money in your checking account that you know what to do with, or you're looking for ways to spend your money? Like you can do that at any time in your life by stepping into that circle of greatness, really. Okay? All right, let's see here real quick. And the last thing I just wanted to mention is that I do have a course where I teach athletes, or teach hypnotists and hypnotherapists how to work with athletes. It's my structured program that I use with every athlete. It's called the Attitude of a Champion Academy, and it starts in September. It includes some private coaching with me, because what I found is that when I can bring you through the process that I use with athletes. So what I'll do is you will be like an athlete, except you will be an entrepreneur, and I'll go through the process with you that I do with them, and then I'll teach you exactly how I do that. It's a 6-month program, and then you become a certified performance mindset expert.